Georg Hegel was a German philosopher who came up with a basic system for achieving the goals of the Illuminati called the Hegelian Dialectic. This system is based on 3 steps. In step 1, a rogue government will create the problem that harms or even kills its own citizens. This deception is known as a false flag attack. In step 2, a rogue government will control the reaction to the problem which it created by typically blaming it on an enemy or some aspect of its own society over which it seeks more control. This is why the term false flag attack is so named. In step 3, a rogue government will offer the solution to the problem which it created. This solution is typically a war or a system of regulations. The solution would usually not be accepted by the public had the rogue government not created the crisis and controlled the reaction to it in the first place. A government which seeks increasing control can keep pushing society to accept its agenda by following a series of problems, reactions, and solutions which it planned all along.
Among the loudest voices is the self-described Freedom Convoy that's heading to Ottawa. Its supporters blame the government, call public health restrictions unlawful, and claim the vaccine mandate for cross-border truckers has reduced the supply of goods.
Just curious about the logistics. So you guys gonna stay here obviously all night? Like you're gonna sleep in the truck and you got food and all that?
Yeah.
And like how long do you plan on staying here for?
As long as it takes.
Yeah, as long as it takes. Where are you from?
Wingham, Ontario.
Where?
Wingham, Ontario.
Wingham, Ontario?
Yeah.
And how has the pandemic affected your jobs and
I lost my job at the hospital because I didn't want to get vaccinated.
oh really? I'm sorry to hear that.
I own my own business, which has had to be shut down so much. And it hasn't been easy for the truck drivers. Not 2020 was an awful year for them.
Right.
I've lost 90% of my work too as well because I had to cross the border.
Oh, okay. So what is it that you're hauling? What is
Livestock.
livestock?
Okay, well, I got to touch on a point that I saw you talk about, that technology ultimately will make capitalism redundant, or maybe not redundant, but impossible to support.
Yeah, they're incompatible.
Yeah. What happens then? You go about, you develop these machines, but you don't need me any longer.
UBI, Universal Basic Income. And the way that to implement it is very clear. So the concept is that so the way that things work now in the simplified economic model is you have companies who pay people to do things, and then those companies create wealth, a part of which goes to the government as tax. And then the people who've generated the wealth, part of their paycheck goes to the government also. The government gets taxed from both sides. So as technology grows in its capabilities, what happens is companies replace the labor of people with machines. So they stop paying humans. They pay machines instead, a lot less. Mm-hmm. And the profit grows, but that profit doesn't flow back to the people. Instead, it collects inside the company. So there's a very simple solution to this. because those people are no longer getting money from the corporations, and the corporations are making more and more, the corporations need to pay more tax. That tax goes to the government that now pays the people. So it reverses the arrow. Instead of you paying tax to the government, in the future, what's going to happen is the government is going to pay you. And the reason for this is very simple. It's that unless that happens, the people who are the government serves are going to have no capital, and they're going to in one
ultimately
limit
riot against
starve,
it,
starve.
or rebel against it.
And so you're going to have this very terrible situation where wealth collects inside companies, and there are only a few people who own all of that wealth. Like there's 3 people who own half the United States. That's where technology and capitalism in its current model ends. So what we have to do is replace that with a very simple system, and it's not difficult, and it makes total sense, that companies have to pay what you could think of as an automation tax. The more of a corporation that's automated, the more money they pay to the government in tax, and then the government redistributes that money to everybody in the form of universal basic income. So this idea is really simple. It will work, and it will be the way that we
Will
go
it be
forward.
a better world than the one that we're
Absolutely.
currently in right now? Because there's an
Absolutely.
awful lot of acrimony.
Yeah. So the bottoming out of the middle class and people who want to work, but the opportunity is not there, and even redefining what a job is. Like if you think about what people count as jobs now, those shouldn't be counted. A job for an adult is a wage that allows you to support yourself and your family. It's not working for $15 an hour. That's not a job. That's what you do when you're a teenager. A job is something where you make enough money so that you can have the sorts of things that you expect you'd have in a first world country. Now, So I think that will it be better? Yes, and the reason is that you break the unhealthy link between labor and being able to live. So right now, everybody has in the back of their head this fear that if I don't exchange the sweat of my brow for money, I can't feed myself and my family. I'm going to lose my house. And that is a terrible situation for a technologically advanced civilization that doesn't need that to be the case to be in. We can automate out today most people's jobs. And the reason why I think that's a good thing is that we can pay for all of that, again, by taxing corporations, this kind of automation tax, and then redistributing that money back to the citizenry. It doesn't mean that if I own a big profitable company, I'm not going to be incredibly wealthy. If I have, let's say I'm worth $100 billion because I own company X, I can give away half of that to the government, and I won't notice a difference because I can only wear one suit at a time, and the difference between 50 billion and 100 billion is not material to me. I don't care who you are. That's not a difference. That you will not notice a difference no matter what you're doing. There's no project that you can imagine where you'd need to invest $100 billion in it.
So you envision a world where artificial intelligence and technology is going to rewrite the social order.
Absolutely, and for the better. It will be all of the drudgery of life is going to be done by machines that are better at those things than we are, and it'll be almost like, okay, right now, you don't think about the let's say when you turn on the tap, water comes out and you know it's kind of free. You don't really think about that. What if everything was like that?
Okay, I can't help but go to a place where I start to think, okay, what is the meaning of life? Does my life have value? And from me, I am contributing to something by my very existence, and therefore I affect change. If I'm not engaged in the world of work, what then do I do to have that same kind of impact and hopefully derive meaning for my time here on Earth?
So that is an excellent question. I think, okay, so I'm lucky enough that I don't have to work anymore. I've been very fortunate financially, I suppose, in the things that I've done, but I do anyway.
Right.
Because, and I would claim actually that a lot of what I do could be better done by machines now, but I would do it anyway. And I think that this idea that you wouldn't do something that you love to do because there's somebody or something that's better at it than you is it's a wrong idea. So for example, I might like to play basketball, and I might do it, a couple times a week because I enjoy it. But I don't stop playing basketball because Michael Jordan could demolish me on one-on-one. I mean, I know that. I'm never going to be as good as LeBron James ever, I know. But that doesn't mean I don't enjoy what I do, and I can't participate in this for my own self-satisfaction and also a social thing with others.
Yeah.
So work doesn't have to be an endless grind. Like, there are different kinds of work. You can enjoy what you do, and you would do it even if you didn't have to. A lot of content creators, I think, are like that. So I've been listening to a lot of writers talk about their craft, and this thing that comes up over and over again is that most of them have jobs that aren't writing, so they have to stuff the writing in the morning or sometime, and they report doing it because they feel like they have to. They don't have a choice. So a lot of people have these things, like something that you'd really want to do if you could, or spend more time on it. And the fact that you have to work a job doesn't change any of that. And I think what will happen in this post-scarcity economy that I'm describing is that, yes, there are going to be a lot of people who just sit on the couch playing video games. And I don't have any problem with that. Why not? Because, that might be the thing that you really like to do. And it might actually be something that gives you joy and satisfaction. And then there are going to be people who are not satisfied with that, and they're going to want to do other things, and they'll do those too, but they don't have to. They're doing it because they want to. So there's a huge difference. And this world that I'm describing, I think, is coming. It's coming in the not too distant future because it has to. Because if you don't do this, there's going to be widespread social problems.
When you say the not too distant future, are you talking quarter century or less?
Less. I'd say that unless we start doing something about this, so on the time scale of, say, the introduction of the driverless car.
Yep.
So who knows when that's going to be, but it's probably within 10 years they'll be deployed and scale.
Very soon, semi-trucks could be driving themselves on the freeways. That's something you're excited about? Take a look at this. Autonomous trucking startup Too Simple has completed its very first self-driving truck run on open public roads without a human in the vehicle. Yeah, the company's autonomous driving system navigated an 80-mile trip in Arizona, and although the trip was successful, they do say that it could be a couple of years before self-driving trucks are commercially available.
So that is not too far away, and that will displace a lot of workers. The company I worked at prior to Sanctuary builds products that are robots for warehouses. If you're a warehouse worker, you're not going to be doing that job in 10 years. I'm almost certain. And there are a lot more people who work in warehouses than drive for a living. So this is coming immediately. And I used to be concerned that governments wouldn't be able to react fast enough to this because they wouldn't be able to get their ducks in a row, and people would be looking at the wrong kinds of problems, like walls, for example, where the things that really mattered were not being paid attention to. But I actually don't believe that now. I think that at least in the United States on the Democrat side, this understanding of the dangers of the automated economy virtually every person on that side understands that this is an issue. And I think it's going to actually be an important issue in the upcoming election in the United States. So these things are starting to raise their head above simple like academics talking at conferences. Now we're talking about something that really is going to have to happen, or else there's going to be problems.
It's an interesting world that we're moving into.
It is.
And we designed it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't believe in free will, so I'm not sure we had anything to do with it. But